I think it depends very much on, obviously internal Israeli, the cabinet decisions, but more importantly on the extent to which Israel's partners exert pressure on it to step back. Any kind of retaliatory action today is going to spin out of control, particularly if it's a direct targeting of Iran, by Israel. I think a lot of it really depends today on, the U.S., the United States using its influence to tone down the rhetoric. It has already demonstrated its ironclad commitment, to quote President Biden, to Israel's security. Most of the drones and missiles were brought down by the allies of Israel. So it's time to use that leverage to bring it down, tone things down. But I think also this needs to be linked to a broader consideration of de-escalation. It's no more about the ceasefire only in Gaza. It has to be linked to a broader regional de-escalation that also brings tensions down significantly.
Maha, people have talked about the role being played by Turkey, by Egypt, possibly by other regional powers. Where is the impetus going to come from wider talks, the talks you talk about, the key talks about bringing an end to the conflict in Gaza and indeed this wider conflagration now as well? Where's it going to come from? Are these talks ongoing?
Some of these talks are ongoing. Turkey apparently now has been playing a role and has been asked now in coordination with the U.S. to play an even greater role in using its influence with Iran, but also with Israel to try and bring the tensions down. The UAE can also play a role if it chooses to. Qatar has been trying to play a role. I mean, each of these partners can play a different role, if you like. Oman. I think that on the at least on the American side, they're the ones with the most influence when it comes to Israel. On the Palestinian, but also on the Iranian side, it's more the regional actors, I think, that can play an important role. We cannot expect much out of Russia and China because they have not demonstrated a willingness or maybe a capacity even to put their money where their mouth is, let's put it this way. Even though, a regional all-out conflict is not in anybody's interest at this point.
Maha, there seems to be a sense then that Benjamin Netanyahu doesn't necessarily stand heed to any calls, particularly by the United States. Do you think President Biden has fully exercised any hold he has over Israel?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And unfortunately, there was already beginning a push within the United States to try and condition some of the military aid to Israel on opening up the humanitarian space in Gaza, allowing more humanitarian support. We're talking about famine in Gaza today. This is other than the utter destruction, more than 33,000 dead. Estimates now are there are about 15,000 under the rubble. I mean, these are people, not numbers. These are lives. I don't need to get into that detail. So there was a momentum building up prior to Sunday to try and condition some of this aid, some of the military aid, regarding, in terms of what happens in Gaza next, the entry into Rafah. My concern is that today this debate has become a lot more muted. It's become a lot more difficult to achieve any kind of a ceasefire on Gaza, the release of hostages. So the U.S. does need to use its leverage a lot more than what it has so far. It does have a lot of leverage. It has not been using it effectively.